The plate did not break. It slipped, it hit the sink, and the sound was louder than it needed to be. And something in you went off like a switch. 10 seconds later, you were standing in your own kitchen, embarrassed, holding a plate that was completely fine. You know it was small. That is the part you cannot explain to anybody, including yourself. How does something that small find something that big? Tonight I want to show you what was actually happening in those 10 seconds, and why the answer is not that you are an angry person. 2,000 years ago, a Roman wrote an entire book about this because his brother asked him to. And the first thing he says is that this was not a temper. It was a decision made too fast for you to catch it. Start with the timing, because the timing gives it away. You did not snap at 9 in the morning. You snapped at 7 in the evening, at an object, in an empty room. Go back through the day and count what it took from you. The message you answered before you were properly awake. The meeting that could have been 3 lines. The person who said your name in that particular tone. The sentence you wanted to say and did not. None of them were worth a reaction. That is, exactly why you did not react. But each one cost you the same thing. The part of you that decides what is worth caring about. You spent it all day, in coins so small you never noticed the wallet emptying. Then the plate slipped, and there was nothing left to pay with. Anger did not arrive because the plate mattered. Anger arrived because you had run out of the thing that keeps small events small. That is why the shame comes so fast afterwards. Some part of you is measuring the size of the reaction against the size of the plate, and finding an enormous gap. The gap is not madness. The gap is the whole day, arriving at once, in the wrong place. And notice who was in the room when it happened. Nobody. Or worse, the person you are least angry with in the world. The day was spent on people you could not react to, and the reaction came out on the one person who was safe. That is not a coincidence. That is the shape of the whole problem. You were not dangerous at any point today. You were careful. 11 separate times. Careful is not free. Every time you decide that something is not worth it, you pay for that decision, and the payment comes out of the same small account. 2,000 years ago, a man asked his younger brother for help with exactly this. The man was Novatus. The brother was Seneca. And what came back was not an essay, it was a manual. The book opens with the request itself. You have demanded of me, Novatus, that I should write how anger may be soothed. Seneca was a reasonable person to ask. He spent his life close to power, in a court where the wrong face at the wrong moment could end you. He was not writing about irritation as a theory. He was writing about a thing he had watched destroy people who could not afford to lose control. And in the middle of it, he makes a claim that sounds impossible the first time you read it. Anger, he says, is not something that happens to you. It needs your agreement. There is a first movement, the jolt, the heat in the face, the hands going tight. That part is involuntary, and Seneca says so plainly. Nobody is blamed for the jolt. But what happens after the jolt is a judgment. Something in you rules that this is an injury, that it is unfair, and that it must be answered. That ruling takes a fraction of a second, and you have never once heard yourself make it. That is a hard sentence to sit with. It is also the only reason any of this can be changed, because if anger were weather, there would be nothing to discuss. You would simply be a person it rains on. But if there is a judgment in the middle of it, then there is a place to stand. Not in the jolt, in the half second after it, where something in you decides what the jolt means. Seneca is careful here, and it is worth being careful with him. He is not saying you chose to be furious. He is saying the fury needed one small yes from you. and it got it before you were awake enough to answer. So here is the question that actually opens the thing. Not why did I get so angry at a plate, but what did I expect? That the plate broke. Seneca puts it in one line. We are especially excited at what befalls us contrary to our hope and expectation. Read that again, with your evening in mind. You expected that after a day like that, the evening would let you through without asking for one more thing. You expected that when you finally got home, the objects at least would cooperate. You expected that having been patient 11 times, patience number 12 would not be required. Nobody signed that agreement. You never said it out loud, but you were holding it, and the plate tore it up. This is why anger feels so righteous in the first second. It is not the feeling of something being unpleasant. It is the feeling of something being unfair, and unfair needs a contract to exist. Notice what this does to the story you tell about yourself. You are not a person with a short fuse. You are a person carrying a stack of quiet expectations that nobody agreed to, into an evening that has no idea they exist. And here is the cost, because there is always a cost. The people around you do not see the 11 times you were patient. They only ever see the 12th. So you get the reputation of the reaction, and never the credit for the restraint. And you start to believe the reputation. That is the quiet damage. You begin describing yourself as someone with a temper, and once that sentence is in your mouth, you stop looking at the day and start managing a character flaw that does not exist. Watch what that does. A person with a temper needs to be controlled, so you hold tighter, which costs more, which empties the account faster, which produces the next 12th time. The story creates the evidence for itself. Seneca is doing something different. He is not asking you to be a calmer person. He is asking you to look at what you were carrying into the room, and to notice that most of it was never agreed to by anybody. Seneca's answer is not what you would expect from a philosopher. It is embarrassingly practical. No one will postpone his anger, he writes, yet delay is the best remedy for it, because it allows its first glow to subside and gives time for the cloud which darkens the mind either to disperse or at any rate to become less dense. Delay. That is the whole technique. Not calm, not acceptance. Just do not act inside the first 10 seconds. And the reason it works is inside the sentence. The cloud disperses on its own if you give it room. What makes anger permanent is what you do while it is still thick. The message sent at that moment, the sentence said in that tone. Those are not the anger, those are the damage, and they outlive it by years. So in the 10 seconds, do one thing. Name the day instead of the object. Say it silently if you have to. This is not about the plate. This is a Tuesday that took everything. That sounds small. It is not. It moves the target from the thing in front of you to the thing that is actually true, and anger cannot survive very long once it is looking at the right target. Then, there is the morning half of it, which almost nobody does. Seneca gives one instruction for how to begin a day. Always believe that something will occur to offend you. He is not asking you to be a pessimist. He is asking you to stop signing contracts that nobody agreed to. If you begin the day already expecting one stupid thing, then when the stupid thing arrives, it is not a betrayal. It is Tuesday, one last thing, and it is the honest one. This will not make you a person who never snaps. There will be an evening in the next month where you are out of the thing that keeps small events small, and something will slip, and you will hear your own voice come out louder than the situation deserves. What changes is the 10 seconds afterwards. Right now they go to the shame, and then to explaining yourself, and then to an apology that does not quite land. After a while, they go somewhere else. You notice the size of the gap, and you read it correctly. The gap is the day. The plate was only where the day found you. Seneca did not write that book because his brother was a violent man. He wrote it because his brother was a decent man who did not want to become one. So, before you go, one question. What did today take from you in coins too small to notice? Answer that one honestly, and the plate never has to.